Hey gorgeous humans, I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you're all doing really good. My name is Praiseara, welcome or welcome back. And this video is going to be on closure and how to move on without an apology, thereby reclaiming your power. If you like what you're about to hear, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, all that fun stuff, and let's get into it. So for me personally, one of the things that really stumped me in terms of actually being able to heal from certain life events that had taken place and certain things that were done to me was the fact that I was waiting for an apology from people who, looking back on it now, were just not in a position themselves to acknowledge that the ways that they had behaved were wrong. I literally remember having a conversation with someone who had like absolutely catastrophically messed up and they were just adamant that they hadn't, and I remember looking at them and being like, if you genuinely feel like you've done the right thing in this situation, I do not know how we move on. And literally for years I did not move on. I couldn't move on. I was literally stuck in that point for so long because I was waiting on them to acknowledge that, yeah, I messed up. And for me, for some reason, that felt like such an important part of my journey towards getting past that thing. I've also always been somebody to be like, I can forgive but I can't forget, and I always put that down to the fact that, well, like, I have a brain and it works, we thank God, and so like if something's happened to me and something's been done to me, with any luck I remember it because functioning brain. But as I've grown and as I've evolved, what it means to forget has also shifted and changed as well. So at this point now, the way that I see it, to forget in terms of forgiveness now means to let go of the meaning assigned to a particular event or a particular thing that was done to me. And the way I reconcile this and the way I rationalize this is that a lot of the time people's behaviors, especially when negative or when it's coming from a triggered state on their end, usually have so much more to do with them than they do have to do with us. Oftentimes we are just the recipient that is there in that moment. It is really natural to assume that the things that are done to us are a reflection of us and are because of us entirely, and that's not entirely true. Number one, people are responsible for their behaviors. Number two, a lot of the time people's behaviors are a reflection of them and not you. For example, the fact that somebody may have made you feel abandoned or abandoned you doesn't mean that you are deserving of abandonment or that you're not worth anything or you're not worth sticking around for. It may just be that the person is unable to stick around in general, or whatever the case may be. It's really not your job to try and figure it out on behalf of the other person. Yours is just to understand that it's not entirely you and that you're not deserving of ill treatment just because you're receiving it. For me, the need for closure in the traditional sense and in the way that we see it talked about on social media reads to me like an attempt to understand why you were deserving of substandard treatment so that you can do better next time. Spoiler alert, you don't deserve substandard treatment, like, ever. So there's that. I do still believe in closure, but I see it as something that you give to yourself in order to reconcile and close a chapter and be able to move on peacefully. So here's how I personally do it, and here's something that's really worked for me. The first step is to accept the responsibility that is yours for a situation, and only that. We're not absorbing full responsibility for a situation that was co-created. We're not doing that. But what it is important to do is examine honestly what role you had to play in a situation. For example, in a toxic dynamic, it might be that some certain behaviors of yours co-created it, or that you allowed it to continue for longer than was necessary, or whatever that looks like, you'll know. And then the next step is to essentially depersonalize the experience. Understand the actions done to you in the context of the person doing the action as opposed to in terms of you as a recipient. Understand that they are the one that actively did the thing and they are responsible for what they did. If it helps you to come up with reasons why they might have done it, then that's fine. If not, then don't worry about that. Again, it's not your responsibility to try and figure out what their things are. It's your responsibility to heal for yourself. And then think about the story that that situation might have told you about yourself and the meaning that you've assigned to it. For example, in a situation where you were or felt abandoned, there might subconsciously have been a story created that looks like, oh, I deserve to be abandoned, or people typically abandon me, or the people that I love and care about abandon me. And then go about unassigning that story if you like, and just remind yourself that just because this one person did this thing to me does not mean that I deserve this, or that that is all I have to experience from people. That's the bit that can be a little bit harder to sort of form the habit of, but with time it does get easier and it does get more natural to sort of go into a story that you're telling yourself and sort of rework it and reframe it. And that's that's essentially how I've learnt to sort of provide closure for myself when it comes to situations, because I think it's a really painful situation to be in when you are waiting on the person who hurt you to apologize, and your healing and ability to move on is contingent upon the person who hurt you in the first place providing you with an apology. You deserve to be in a situation where whether you get that apology or you don't get that apology, you've already healed and reconciled that situation within yourself. You deserve to be able to heal and to move on. And yeah, that's everything from me. I hope you liked this video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, all that fun stuff. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.